Okay. Okay. We've got about 30 seconds. You're okay, Dolores, with the remote stuff? Okay, good. Just about 1 o'clock. Hope you enjoyed the little luncheon fare. Since we had most of the people who were here for the morning session, we thought that would be an appropriate piece so that you guys didn't have to wander off somewhere if you didn't want to. But if you did, you could go do that as well. Thank you. It's not just me. Trust me. There's other members of this board that all made these decisions too. All I happen to be is the president for a while. They've doubled my salary to do this. 0 times 0 is still 0, right? Okay. The second piece of the session is going to relate with Cy Shulman, who many of you know or knew in IBM, and Cy's granular approach to understanding just how the IBM Towers-Watson version is going to impact you individually. Cy will bring it down to a grassroots level and attempt to make sure he addresses each one of your needs individually. We will have time, plenty of time for questions and answers. We have to vacate the room at 4. So we've got to clean up, et cetera. So you got 3 hours to really take Cy for all of his knowledge that he's worth. And just as a caution, because you have come into the room as members, it is typically against regulations, insurance regulations, for you who is someone who is non-licensed to dispense information on insurance. However, since you are a private member of a private organization, we have elected to serve this as the best interests of our private members. So I just want to make sure you understand that Cy, unlike Bill, Cy is not a registered licensed agent to dispense information. However, because we are private, we are taking that liberty. And by you staying here, you have accepted that. If that's a problem for you, then you can step out. Okay, having said that, that's to protect Cy, that's to protect us, and equally as important to protect you about not giving you any options. We felt that that was appropriate to do. Okay, how many hands here do I see that attended the morning session? Okay, so it's pretty much a duplicate. Everybody's coming back for the same one. Your reaction to the morning session? Good, excellent. The reason I ask you is not for the accolades. The reason I ask you is we're delivering valuable content to you, the stuff that you want to see and you want to hear. Otherwise, the membership doesn't mean anything. And that's the reason. We're trying to drive more value add, proposition, events, this kind of information, so that you will then go to the club as a resource for information and as a source for entertainment. We want to try to deserve and earn your trust, your $20, your membership, and the things that you deem most important at this point in your life. Okay, having said that, any questions about this morning? Everybody clear about what to do in terms of the website, etc.? No questions? Okay, without further ado, Cy, take it away. It's all yours.
So I'm doing this presentation podium, and I'm going to have my faithful assistant, Uncle McCarthy. Okay, again, just in terms of disclaimers, I need to tell you that I have no special information from IBM about this one. I have no special information from Howard Watson and One Exchange about this one. I just put in a heck of a lot of time reading the Medicare book, reading the materials that I read.
Here. What are you looking for? Here.
Is that better? So now I have to sing with this. Okay, so I started doing these presentations 3 years ago. I guess mostly because the Retiree Association here felt that it would be a service to the membership to have one person put in the time necessary to understand the plans rather than force all of you to do it individually. And I am also not reluctant to speak in front of large groups of people, especially if you've been checked for weapons before coming into the room here. Okay, I got a lot of help here. We don't do this alone. It's a cooperative effort. There's a lot of good work being done by the IBM Retirees Club in Tampa. And I use a lot of their materials in conjunction with this together. Okay, next, please. All right, we have a big agenda. I'm just going to be silent for a moment here so that you can read it. And during the course of the agenda, you may want to pick out sections that you're not interested in, and you can time your breaks accordingly. Or if there are questions that you want to ask, it would be best if you waited until we completed that section, because you may find that half or 3/4 of your questions are already answered. So that's the agenda. And at the end of the agenda, we will have time for Q&A, and you can beat me up one-on-one, however you want to do it. Okay, next slide, please. Medicare, 2014 versus 2015, not a whole lot of changes. No changes at all to the Part B deductibles or the premiums that are paid. A little increase in Part A, some changes in co-payments for hospital stays, skilled nursing, and there's an adjustment to the donut hole for Medicare Part D. We'll go into these. Look at this as an overview. We'll go into specifics later on. The next one, please. I have to get to the same next one. Okay, Part A. That covers inpatient hospitalization. There's no premium for that. That's when you turn 65, you're there. There's a $1,260 deductible. There are no co-payments for the first 60 days of each hospital stay. There's charges after that. Beyond 90 days, there are additional charges. And it does cover skilled nursing facilities for the first 20 days. There's a charge after that. Now, that's Medicare Part A, plain vanilla Medicare. Next, please. Part B. That pays for non-hospital things. That pays for doctors, outpatient care, and other services. There is an annual deductible of $147. Medicare pays 80% after that. You pay 20%. Again, this is just vanilla Medicare. You have to pay a monthly premium for this, and the minimum premium is $104.90 a person, and those are for people whose adjusted gross income is less than $85,000 a year for a single, double that for a married couple. And that premium is scaled upwards with your income, and we'll talk to the specifics of that. It comes out of your Social Security check. However, if you retired prior to 1997, 12/31/96 or sooner, you can recover $900, up to $900 per family through filling out form called SHAP, Special Help Assistance Program. I have handouts that I left there. I think there are 25 copies, so don't be fighting each other for it. We'll also arrange to have it posted on the association's website, and that will tell you precisely how you go about getting money back from SHAP. Next, please. Nope. There you go. Okay. Medicare Part D. This is for prescription drug coverage. It's coverage that's subsidized through Medicare-approved companies. You get these plans, you can get them through Towers Watson, or you could get them from the Medicare.gov website. Most of the plans, there are only a small amount of plans that provide any coverage at all through what's called the gap period. The gap starts when your total drug costs reach $2,960, and it stays until your out-of-pocket costs exceed $4,700. Again, later on, we'll talk more specifically about that. The gap is shrinking. By 2020, the gap disappears completely, which means that there will be one standard percentage of the drug costs that we pay throughout the continuum of charges. One thing I just want to tell you that you might find, because of the way the discounts are structured, when you're in the gap, the discount for generic drugs is not very great. And you might find that at that point in time, it would be advantageous for you to just call Costco and get a price for generic drugs. And you may find that price to be considerably cheaper than your so-called subsidized price from your insurer. You don't have to even be a member of Costco to use their drug facility. So just call them, tell them the drug you take, see what price they'll give you, no insurance whatsoever. Yes, Hal? Yes, Publix, Walmart. There are some generic drugs that you can get for nothing, but and generally it wouldn't really pay to go to Costco for those kind of drugs, but for the pricier generic drugs, the higher tiered generic drugs, you may find that you get a much better deal out of Costco. Okay. Next, please. So these are the brackets that determine what your so-called surcharges are. So again, between $85,000 for a single, $170,000 joint. For Part B, you pay approximately $105 a month. There's no surcharge for Part D. Most of us are going to fall into the first two brackets. If, however, you're in the Donald Trump, Judd McCarthy bracket at the bottom, you're going to have to pay more. I should explain, the modified adjusted gross income is the gross income that you reported on your 2013 tax return, but adding back in any tax exempt interest that you receive. So it's your regular adjusted gross income plus tax exempt interest. Next, please. Okay, there are Medicare Advantage plans. You heard a lot about those this morning in the Towers-Watson presentation. These are all-in-one plans. Many of them do include drug costs. In these plans, you assign your rights, your Medicare benefits to an insurance company, and they become your primary insurer, your primary caregiver. Medicare at that point doesn't want to hear anything from you for the remainder of the year, because you are now the responsibility of either Humana or Aetna or United Healthcare or whatever, but you're not Medicare's responsibility when you sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan. Medicare actually pays your insurer a certain amount of money every month in order to take you off their hands. There are two types of Medicare Advantage plans. There are HMO plans, which are the most restrictive. You have to stay within the plan's network. You need to have a primary care physician, and you need to use that primary care physician to refer you to any specialists you may need. There are also preferred provider organizations. They are less restrictive. You don't really need to have a primary care physician, but you will be penalized if you use providers that are outside of that network. To the extent that you use providers inside the network, you will pay a lower charge for those services than if you go outside the network. Next, please. Okay, Medicare supplement plans. These are Medigap plans. They supplement the coverage that is provided to us by original vanilla Medicare. So to the extent that in original Medicare, they would pay 80% and we would have to pay 20%, the supplemental insurer covers that 20% that would otherwise have been our responsibility. So in these plans, Medicare is our primary insurer. So these are the lettered plans, the A, B, C, F, F prime, N, or the alphabet plans are the Medigap Medicare supplement plans. None of them nowadays provide drug coverage. So if you opt for a Medicare supplement plan, you have to also enroll in a prescription drug coverage plan. Next, please. Okay. The big change occurred the end of last year. I mean, IBM coverage for medical, dental, vision, everything was discontinued as of December 31st, 2013. However, they continued to provide subsidies for us through One Exchange in this health reimbursement arrangement. And in order to tap that subsidy, we have to work with One Exchange and enroll in either a medical plan or a prescription drug plan to receive that benefit. There are no longer any group plans. So a retiree and a spouse can enroll in individual plans. That wasn't possible under the old IBM system. So there is added flexibility. However, it's a more complex enrollment process, and in many instances, it costs more than it used to cost. There is an exception. If you are currently in one of the legacy plans, one of the either the Aetna HMO or the Aetna PPO, you can continue one more year with these plans, and you can accept the other plans that are part of that package. They have a better dental plan than what's offered to us, but you don't get this health reimbursement arrangement. The HRA, the $3,000 or the $3,500 that IBM contributes is already built in to the price that they would be charging for the legacy plan. Okay, next, please. If you were here this morning, you had a whole commercial about what One Exchange is. So they're a big outfit. They insure more than 500,000 retirees. They belong to Towers Watson, and they are our primary contact for being able to utilize or tap the resources of this health reimbursement arrangement. All advisors are expected to be trained. You heard that this morning, but you're going to find that competence levels vary, and it's silly to presume otherwise. That some people are going to be sharper than others, some people will be easier to deal with than others. That's just the nature of the game. My brother-in-law is a retiree of DuPont. And DuPont, like IBM, went to Towers Watson a year before we did. So he's got a year more worth of experience with One Exchange. And while there were certainly startup problems, he feels that they've pretty much resolved them. So I think that we shouldn't anticipate a lot in the way of difficulty. If we start out that it's going to be difficult, it will be difficult. So let's not presume that, and I think the process will go smoother for us. Okay, next, please. Okay. The health reimbursement arrangement, that's like they said this morning, it's a tax-free account. We can use it to pay for all of our eligible medical, dental, vision, prescription drug expenses. We can use it to pay our deductibles, our co-pays, our co-insurance, Medicare Part B premiums, but only if you're not eligible for SHAP. If you're eligible for SHAP and you go here for reimbursement of your Part B premiums, it's going to come out of your $3,000. But if you take it from SHAP, it's an extra $900 that's available to you. So if you're eligible for SHAP, don't request reimbursement of your Part B expenses through Towers Watson. If you retired prior to 1997, up to 12/31/96, you're eligible for SHAP. Now, SHAP is a special IBM program, and we deal with IBM, not with Towers Watson. It's administered by a company called Aclaris. It's also on the other side of the handout. Whereby you can periodically, you can fill out a form. I do it every quarter. You could do it once a year. And each family, not individual, each family is entitled to reimbursement of up to $900 a year. If you're husband and wife, you could get that money in half the time, but you can't get more than $900. For Part B deductible, for the Part B, your share of Part B expenses that come out of your Social Security check every month. Yes, you can. But the only rule is no double dipping is allowed, right? So, but you can. Okay. All right, good. All right, so in order to receive your health reimbursement arrangement contribution from IBM, you have to enroll in at least a medical or a prescription drug plan through OneExchange. There's an exception if you're a veteran and you obtain services from the VA, you can call OneExchange and they'll find a way to give you the money. Once you enroll in a plan through OneExchange, it's not necessary for your spouse to enroll in another plan through OneExchange. In order to tap the HRA, it's sufficient that one of you enroll that way and the other doesn't have to. Non-Medicare eligible spouse cannot enroll through OneExchange, but if you're enrolled elsewhere, if you have another plan or you incur expenses, you can tap that $3,000, $3,500 bucket, just like the retiree can. So in order to do that, you have to make sure that your spouse is included in the OneExchange database. Now, I tell you, I mean, many of you know, my wife passed away a year and a half ago. I cannot remove her from the database. She will live in perpetuity on the OneExchange servers because there is as yet no way to remove it. I mean, I tried to do it last year. I tried to do it this year. I called OneExchange to ask them to do it. They can't do it. And they admit that it's a flaw in their software, but once you're on there, you're there in perpetuity. It's like they're planning for a post-Messiah era. Well, the Messiah comes and everybody is resurrected and we all and then they wouldn't have to re-enter them in the database. So I think that's the plan. Barbara. I have it. It will be in a few charts if you hang it. Okay. Next, please. Here you go. So if you retired before 92, so if you retired 91 or earlier, you get 3,500. After that, you get 3,000. That's what it is. Now, if you are new to this towers, if you recently retired, if you recently turned 65, and this is your first year in this program, you have to think about, if you're married, a surviving spouse option. To make a decision whether or not you want to spend, in my case, the $3,000 group, $626 a year to enable your spouse to collect $1,187 after you're gone. So many of us had to make that decision last year, but if this is your first year in the program, if you're coming off of the legacy plan into this plan, you have to make that decision now. And it's a one size fits all kind of decision. So whether or not you should go one way or the other kind of depends. Next, please. Okay. If you are really ill, if you are seriously ill such that you think it unlikely that you may be here for next year's meeting, take the deal. Just don't think too much about it. You take the deal. If your spouse is seriously ill, I'm not trying to break up marriages here, but you should consider not taking the deal. If your spouse is much younger, if you're 88 years old and your spouse is 22, I mean, God bless you, but you should take the deal. Okay. And conversely, if your spouse is much older, maybe you should lean towards not taking the deal. And if you are in the large, massive gray area where, you might want to consider term insurance as an alternative, because I think you get, that's going to pay whether you outlive your spouse or not. So that may, if you're in good health, that may be a better solution for you. Next, please. Okay. I mentioned this last year, but this is the fundamental flaw in the new IBM retiree medical benefits delivery system, is this health reimbursement arrangement. It's created problems that didn't exist before. Before, everything came out of a pool. We had, IBM paid their contributions into a community chest. I referred to it as a great big dumpster somewhere on the campus, IBM's campus in Armonk, New York. They put in all this money per retiree, and some people used it and some people didn't. Some people who are part of the group of eligible benefits getting retirees don't take any benefits from IBM. They take zero. They may be covered by a still working spouse. They get some coverage from the VA, some other company, a union, who knows? But they don't take anything from IBM. Some people are single. If they take anything, they take a very inexpensive plan. Many, even married people, many of them took Humana HMO plans in the past, which had zero charge to any of us. So we were a disparate mix of benefit obtainers. Some healthy, some sick, some married, some single, some not taking benefits, whatever. And all of that system was kind of self-correcting. Under that system, there were indirect communal type subsidies where those who needed more were able to take more because those who needed less took less, and everything was in one pot. We recently had an election, so those of you who are Republicans in the room, you'll have to cover your ears for a moment, because this is socialism. And that's exactly what insurance is. Insurance is a social contract. It means, if Ebenezer's barn burns down, the rest of the town is going to help him rebuild it. And then when it got more sophisticated, rather than everybody rebuilding, everybody would kick into a pot and it'd be a little bit more money. Uh-oh. That's Bill Gates getting even with us. Well, you might want to take another sandwich or something. Well, we could switch if we get another computer. I have it on a jump drive. Okay. All right. So I'll talk to the implications. So now, under the new plan, we've really created a dichotomy of winners and losers. And who are the winners? Me. I win under the new plan. The losers are everybody else. Married people lose under the plan. Singles, they come out ahead. Married people lose. Now, why do they lose? They lose because prior to 2014, we somehow found a way to cover the medical costs for a surviving spouse through the pool. In January 1st of this year, that was gone. And the only way you now can cover a surviving spouse is by taking a permanent reduction in the subsidy that IBM provides to you. So that's a loss that didn't exist before. Healthy couples, in addition to that, they lose a little bit more. Yes, they have more flexibility. They have more freedom of choice because they can take cheaper plans. They don't have to take the same plan. But if you total out the monies that they're going to have to put out for it, it's probably going to be a few bucks more than they paid in the past. And that's because they're healthy. Sick couples, they really get screwed under the new plan. So they wind up paying considerably more. In many cases, they're going to wind up paying double what they paid in the past. So unhealthy couples lose big time. I try to, it's very difficult to get a large corporation like IBM to admit that they made a mistake. But this was a mistake. But it was, you know, if you get the guy who did it, some guy, some lazy ass moron in a staff position somewhere, came up with this plan and said, oh, we'll make it simple. Everyone will get the same. Give it, you know, let them figure out how to handle it. And that laziness is just what got us into this problem. And it's not easy to get large corporations to admit to having screwed something up, God forbid. You look at the problems that we've had with all these automotive recalls. And I wrote a letter in December to Dr. Ree, who is IBM's point man on medical benefits. And I pointed this out in rather elaborate detail as to why I thought it was wrong. And I got a response 6 weeks later. I was encouraged by the 6 weeks because I thought, okay, they're thinking it through, you know, maybe they'll change their minds, this, that. But 6 weeks later, I got a response that said, the Towers Watson guy mentioned that something similar to this. We think it's a great plan. We're not going to change it. Have a nice day. You know, that's it. So I give up. I mean, as I said, I come out a winner under this plan. I don't want to tilt it anymore. Windmills. I've had it. Are we only 30%? Okay. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. All right. So the question now is, what are we going to do from here? What do we do next? So what I try to do is guide you through a process that'll help you select the best medical coverage for your own individual circumstances. I don't function under the inhibitions that Bill Way functions under. I can say what I want because Greg covers me, so I'm part of this group, and I can speak freely. So I'll tell you what I think, and I am a resource available to you. Some of you, can talk to me later, or you could contact me by email. That's perfectly okay. All right, so what we want to do is we want to come up with a plan that enables us to find coverage suitable for our circumstances and at the same time make use of the resources that are available to us, which would be the health reimbursement arrangement plus the SHAP if we're eligible for that as well. All right, so if we look at Medicare, we start down that path from the beginning. There are two ways we go. We could take one path, which is Medicare Advantage, and we could say, okay, I'm going to sign up for one of these plans. I'm going to pay a relatively small premium. In most cases, I'll have some drug coverage included, but if not, I can get an additional prescription drug plan, and I can go that way. And that's an okay way to go. The other alternative, the way I go personally, is I go for a Medigap plan. I am personally enrolled in Florida Blue Plan F, mostly because, again, I'm a single. I come out okay on this, and I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to have to bother filling out any forms. So I'm in that plan. I go to the doctor. There's no paper changes hands. I don't pay anything for doctor's visits. I don't pay anything for hospitals. I don't pay anything for whatever, for procedures, laboratory analysis, and I don't submit any bills to anybody. It's all done automatically. There's a withdrawal from my checking account, and there's a deposit that occurs a week or two later, and I'm happy with that. So on the two paths, go with Medicare Advantage. That comes in two flavors. There are PPO plans, HMO plans. HMO plans are the most restrictive. You stay within the network. PPO plans, less restrictive. In these plans, you pay them instead of, they pay instead of Medicare, and all of your Medicare benefits are assigned to those insurers. They call that a pay-as-you-go kind of plan, because you visit a doctor, you make a co-payment, you go to the hospital. Whoa, are we cooking now? Not yet. Okay. The premiums on Medicare Advantage plans are considerably lower than on the other side in Medigap plans. Please wait. Please wait. Okay. I should tell you it's that this is my fault. My computer is a desktop. This was my wife's laptop, and I use it once a year for this. So I don't use it any other time. Well, oh, it's moving. Okay. Whoa, 80. Ooh. Well. Oh, 98. It's still spinning. All right, we have about 2 minutes to go, so hopefully it'll. All right, I'll talk to you a little extemporaneously then. When you look at Medicare Advantage plans, HMO, PPO, when you look at those plans, don't spend any time focusing on whether it costs you $20 to visit a doctor or $25 or a specialist is $35 or $25. That's the least helpful place to focus. You don't buy insurance to save $5. That's a silly waste of money if that's what you're buying insurance for. You purchase insurance. Okay. So you could move up to the next one. And you could move up again. Okay. Yeah, it's still loading. All right. Okay, one more. And one more. That's good. Okay. Back, let's go to the next one. One more than that. All right. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you select a Medicare Advantage plan, what you need to focus on is what is the maximum out-of-pocket expense that you will incur if something really bad were to happen. That's really why you want insurance in the first place. You're not insuring against a $25 office visit or a $50 office visit. You're insuring against a $200,000 hospital stay. So if something bad were to happen, what's the maximum out of pocket that you're going to have to pay? That's the only rational basis on which to decide whether or not this plan suits your needs or you need to have some other plan. Okay. We have 9 HMO Medicare Advantage plans available to us. All but one of them have drug coverage. The one that doesn't is a Humana 1036-141. The copays don't vary very much. And the maximum out-of-pocket expenses range from $3,000 to $7,000 exclusive of drugs. However, reading all of that, your total cost is still going to be heavily influenced by the specific drugs that you take and how healthy you are. So if you're unhealthy, if you have a lot of doctor bills, if you have hospitalizations, if you have physical therapy sessions, that's going to cost you more. You're going to pay more for that than someone who is healthy and has relatively few of those. Your satisfaction in an HMO plan is going to depend very much on how happy you are with the office of your primary care physician. So if you are in a happy office where the people aren't overworked, they're not overstressed, they greet you in a civil manner, you're going to be happy. But if you're in an office where they would rather you got the hell out of there because you're just bothering them, you're going to hate that. So if you go into one of these plans, just go for personal recommendations from your friends, your neighbors. Find an office that's happy. Find a place that you won't dread going to. Yes, sir.
I'm very happy with my primary and my specialist. What I'm not happy with is how Humana keeps denying procedures that my doctors feel are required.
Which Humana plan are you in?
I know.
All right.
It's a PPO.
All right. They mentioned it in this morning's session, Bill did, but Medicare Advantage plans and prescription drug plans are rated. They have ratings, and Humana is generally amongst the higher rated. Wasn't always like that. Maybe they go through cycles, but Humana Gold and Humana Gold Plus are pretty highly rated plans. Okay, I don't know about Humana Choice, but we could check it. One of those will tell you. All right, so I don't know how to answer your question because if you're in a plan that constantly denies your claims, your requests, maybe you should be in another plan is all I would say. I don't have any problem like that whatsoever, but I'm not in a Medicare Advantage plan. I am in a Medigap plan. If you are eligible for SHAP, can you move it up just a little bit? Whoops. Okay. Yes, Tonto, screw up. All right, well, I'll tell you, you don't have to bother. If you're eligible for SHAP, do not enroll in a plan that actually returns some of your Medicare Part B premium. Again, because IBM does not allow double dipping. I'll tell you the plan that does. Humana Gold Plus H 1036-199. That returns 90 some odd dollars a month of your Part B premium. So if you take that money, you can't get access to the 900 that IBM will give you from SHAP. So don't be in that plan. Humana Gold Plus H 1036-199. All right, good. No, look, I mean, see, Bill may not be able to tell you these things, but Greg covers me, I can tell you. Okay, next. Can we do the next one, Jeff? Okay. That's two. All right, that's it. All right. We also have 9 Medicare Advantage PPO plans. The same thing. The premiums range pretty much all over the place. Here it goes from $0 to $127 a month. Again, the copays don't vary all that much. Out-of-pocket maximums, they range from $5,000 to $7,000 a year for in-network services. And here's where you need to be careful, is that on these plans, you can incur a lot more out-of-pocket expense if you go out of network. You're allowed to go out of network, but you do that at additional cost. Again, your total cost is going to depend on the drugs you take and how healthy you are, and how often you get services outside of network. You have to check with your doctors to see if they will accept the plan that you're considering. My primary care physician has had a big sign in his office since February saying we do not participate in any Medicare Advantage plans. So just make sure if you have certain providers that are near and dear to you, that they are in the plan before you make that selection. Yes. Oh, back up, Tonto. I'm on 22. Yes. All right, one more. Yeah, 2023 will work. Put it on 23. Doesn't page up do it? Yeah, it must be that new Microsoft update. it disabled page up. All right, 23 is good. Okay. Okay, this is good. All right. Medigap plans. So here, every plan F is the same. Every plan A is the same. Every plan C is the same. What will differ is the insurer might charge at different rates. So the rates may vary slightly from carrier to carrier, but the coverage is identical. So if you are in a Medigap Plan F from Humana, I'm in a Medigap Plan F from Florida Blue, we get exactly the same coverage. Your rates may be slightly different than mine, but the coverage is the same. So under normal circumstances, it would behoove you, if you're entering this for the first time, to pick the cheapest one. I mean, there's no point in paying extra. Yes. Yes. New York City is cheaper. In fact, this is Palm Beach County. Mars is cheaper than here. And practically any place on Earth is cheaper than here. If you are a snowbird, for example, and you spend a large part of your year someplace else, you may be better off taking your insurance from someplace else because this place here is very pricey. However, under those circumstances, you're safest being in a Medigap plan than in a Medicare Advantage plan because your network is unrestricted. The other advantage of Medigap plans is for those of us who live in Florida and like to take cruises, we're covered out of the country, whereas you get no out-of-country coverage from Medicare Advantage plans. A refund from whom? Well, but that's only emergency coverage. It's only emergency coverage that you get. You don't get beyond emergency coverage. Okay, yes. Yes. I'm not sure. It's something that you might have to check. Certainly for tax reasons, you're well off having Florida as your legal residence. because we don't have any state income tax. If you get a pension check, it's not taxed down here. But I don't know if that's a requirement of your Medicare insurance. Okay, all of our policy, almost all of our policies here, the ones on Extend Health, are issue age rated. What that means is that your premiums are based on the age you were when you first signed up for the policy. All policies have a letter, and all the letters mean the same thing. There are two companies. I know Bill was reluctant to mention that this morning, but I'm covered by Greg. United Healthcare and Florida Blue will let you switch Medigap plans without sending you to underwriting. So you can do that within those two companies. Within other companies, you may be able to do that or may not. It's more likely you will be able to do it if you are downsizing. If you're going from a plan F to a plan that covers fewer things, it would seem to me it would be to the insurer's advantage to let you do that because it would be a less exposure to them. But you are automatically allowed to do that with United Healthcare and with Florida Blue. Okay, you have to speak up because can you? Not necessarily. I think you have to ask them. But generally, if you're healthy, if you don't have any, pre-existing conditions, if you're not diabetic, you've never been diagnosed with cancer, you don't have heart issues, that shouldn't be a difficult thing. Otherwise, it's a crapshoot. Don't know. Okay, there's one other thing I want to mention here. I've had conversations with some of you that are a little bit disturbing to me. I've overheard conversations that people have had. It's important that when you select a plan, not just the Medigap plan, Medicare Advantage, that you select it for the right reason. Select a plan for the right reason. And the right reason is that it meets your needs, it's got the right cost structure, your doctors are in it, any of those things. The wrong reason is I selected this plan because it's AARP and AARP will take care of seniors. That's the wrong reason. First of all, there is no AARP insurance company. The insurance company is called United Healthcare. United Healthcare last year had pretty poorly rated policies, poorly rated Medigap policies, poorly rated Medicare prescription Part D policies. This year, their Medigap policies are a little better rated, but their prescription plans are still pretty poorly rated. So that's the wrong reason to take a plan. If a plan has AARP in its name, it's because United Healthcare paid for the privilege of being allowed to do that. And AARP sold those rights to the highest bidder, not to the best insurer, to the highest bidder. So that's not a good reason to take a plan. Judy. Is that domestic travel? Okay, okay, so I'll cover them both. The way Medigap plans work is you know, any doctor, any hospital, any place, they take Medicare, they take you. So throughout your travels in the United States, you don't have to worry about coverage. If you travel on foreign shores, if you go to Italy and you get sick there, the first $250 is on you. Beyond that, up to $50,000, they will split 80-20. So your plan, your insurer will pay 80% and you will pay 20%. So if you get sick on foreign shores, your first priority should be to try to get back here, right? But if you can't, then you at least have coverage, but you won't have any coverage in a Medigap plan. Okay, next, please. All right. This morning he spoke briefly about guaranteed issue rights. So if you're coming off a group plan, you have guaranteed issue. If you're just becoming Medicare eligible, you have guaranteed issue. If you decide not to enroll in a Medigap plan when you first become eligible for it, you don't have guaranteed issue, and you may have to go through underwriting. However, you can always enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. I had an example last year. So let's take 3 guys, and we'll make them all, they'll all be 73 years old. So I'm one of these guys, and I want to enroll in a plan. I've been with Florida Blue, so I decide I'm going to re-enroll in Florida Blue, Plan F. I'm 73 years old, but because I enrolled when I was 72 last year, I will pay the same premium that a 72-year-old would pay if he were enrolling in that plan for the first time. So we'll have another guy, Fred, in the back. So let's take Fred. Fred will also be 73. And we see Fred coming out of the drugstore, and he's got 2 packages. He's got a package of prescriptions in one hand and a 6-pack of Yingling in the other. It's because it's Fred. And Fred is happy. He takes his packages and he puts them in the basket of his brand new motorized tricycle. And he's tooling down the street, looking really spiffy in a red beret. That's Fred. And Fred he's on one of the legacy plans. So he's in an Aetna legacy plan, but he thinks this year he'd like to sign up for a Plan F, a Medigap Plan F, because size in Plan F, he's going to sign up for Plan F. So because he's coming off a group plan, Fred is eligible for guaranteed issue. So if Fred signs up now for Florida Blue Plan F, they write him a policy, but because he's 73, he's got to pay the rate that a 73-year-old would pay. Unlike me, I pay what a 72-year-old would pay. Okay, so now we'll take Judd. Judd is our 3rd guy here. So Judd, he's coming out the drugstore. He's looking miserable. He's got no packages, no nothing. He's really unhappy. It seems that some guy in a red beret just walked off with the last bottle of Viagra. So you know, Judd is not a happy camper. So he asked us out, sign up for a plan. He is in a Medicare Advantage plan. But he's thinking that my hip hurts, my knees hurt, I may need some surgery this year, and I know it'll be cheaper all around if I do this in a Medicare Medigap Plan F. So Judd wants to sign up for Plan F. So like Fred, Judd, he's 73. He will have to pay the rate that a 73-year-old would pay. Unlike Fred, he's not guaranteed issue. So he has to go through underwriting. Now, you all know take one look at the guy, right? So who would insure this guy? Who would insure? So that's the problem, is that if we think that, well, I'm going to wait until I really need to have one of these Medigap plans, they may not want you. That's the risk that we take. If you wait until you really need it and can financially benefit from it, it may be too late and they don't want you. Okay, the next one, please. All right, why I like Plan F should be obvious. It's got 100% in every box. So it pays for everything. That's not to say the other plans are bad. Plan C pays for almost everything, except for one minor thing, but it's only $1 or $2 cheaper a month, so there's hardly a difference there. Plan N is also a pretty decent plan, but there are some co-pays associated with Plan N. So it's kind of you get what you pay for kind of thing. In Plan F, there is another version. There is an alternate version of Plan F called High Deductible Plan F, where you have to pay the first, $2,180. You have to pay out of pocket, and after that, it kicks in, according to the chart, paying 100% for everything. Next one, please. Yes, okay, $2,180 is the deductible for High Deductible Plan F in 2015. Plan N, as I said, is another decent plan. They pay 100% of your Part B coinsurance except for the annual deductible of $147. And you may have to pay up to $20 for some office visits, some physical therapy visits, and up to $50 if you went to an emergency room that it did not result in admitting you to the hospital. Okay, next one, please. We'll just go through a couple of examples. We're going to compare a Florida Bowl Plan F to a Humana High Deductible Plan F. The reason I took these two is that they're both available from one exchange. So in one case, it's $305.60 a month. The high deductible is different. So anyway, we go down. If you went for the high deductible plan and you never, ever got sick and you never, ever went to the doctor, you would save $1,723 a year with that high deductible plan. But remember the provisos. You never went to the doctor, never went to the hospital, you never got sick. On the other hand, if you got really sick and you were in that plan, you would be paying $456 and change more than you would otherwise have paid if you took the regular Plan F to begin with. So if you think that your medical costs are going to, if you're interested in a Plan F and you think that your medical costs are going to be more than $1,700 a year, take the regular Plan F. Next, please. Yes. Yes, they do. Well, except in the high deductible, remember, if the $1,200 occurs in January, you're going to be paying it because it's as part of your deductible. But they're both covered expenses. In one case, it will apply to your deductible, and the other, they'll just pay it. Sure. if you believe that your expenses are likely to be more than $1,700 a year, take the regular Plan F. That will be cheaper for you. If you believe your expenses, will be less than that, then take the high deductible one. But I mean, I know in my case, I'll hit the 1,700 before half the year is out. So, does that answer your question?
What happens? I mean, once you pay that $2,100,
Right.
then
The-
basically 100% covered
Yes,
for most things, for everything.
for everything except foreign travel, but you're covered for everything. Yes.
We have Plan F. We weren't healthy. Now we are healthy. We're going to go down to high deductible Plan F.
Which Plan F do you have? Which? Yeah, you can move up and down in blue at will. So you can do that. What I can't tell you is if One Exchange offers a high deductible Florida Blue Plan F. They may not. I think their high deductible Plan F is Humana, I think. Right. But you may be able to do this outside are you married? Okay, so if your spouse has a plan with One Exchange, you may be able to obtain yours outside of One Exchange.
Was there any problem?
Say again.
So you're having problems this year, say. So next year you want to switch from a high deductible to bring it down. Is it guaranteed to go?
Who is your carrier? Humana, it's not guaranteed. You have to talk to them. They may let you do it, but it's not guaranteed. The only places I am aware that it's guaranteed is United Healthcare, not my favorite insurer, but United Healthcare and Florida Blue. No, it's not guaranteed, but if you have no health problems, there's a questionnaire they'll make you fill out, and if you indicate that, you should probably not have any trouble. But if you have health problems, you will have trouble. Yes. You're changing carriers? Yeah, you would be older, right? Yeah. Okay, 28. Yes.
Is this the new rate on Florida Blue Plan, 315 months?
I thought it was when I took these off of the Towers Watson website. I took all of this information off of their website, and then I got a letter from Florida Blue that wanted $9 more. And I was outraged. I mean, $9. So I called them and they said, well, they probably had the 2014 rate on the website, and this is the new rate. So
Now, they sent us a letter, and
yes,
309, he was paying 301.
right. Same with me, 301, and I think it was 310 is what they said for the new one. Now, on the 301 that I was paying, I originally, when I signed up for it last year, I thought it was going to be 306. And then when I got it, it was 301. So I think that there is a discount that you get for having automated deductions. So maybe that was
But the letter they sent us is telling us that's what the
right.
premium is. Will that change once they deduct the money from our checking account?
You're saying, can it change?
Yeah.
I think it's fixed for the year. It's fixed for the year. And if you have that arrangement already in place where they deduct the money from your checking account and then it gets reimbursed by one exchange later on, and you want to keep the same plan, those arrangements will stay in place. So you don't have to do anything, right? You don't have to do anything. Yes. I don't know. I'm not. I really am not sure because the United Healthcare never appeared in the Towers Watson website. So you actually had to go on the United Healthcare website to find out what those plans were. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, so here we're going to look at just another brief comparison. We're going to look at a Plan F from United Healthcare and a Plan N from United Healthcare. Again, if you go with Plan N, you're going to have a premium savings of $1,050 a year, and you will come out ahead if you don't have a lot of doctor's visits, physical therapy visits. So that's a viable option for people to consider who are focusing on costs. Next, please. Was there a question I missed? Okay. If you are taking a Medigap plan that does not provide prescription drug coverage, so you have to separately enroll in a prescription drug plan. You can get it from off the street, from Towers Watson, from Medicare.gov. I have instructions, you'll see it on the next chart, as to how to use the website in order to put in your prescriptions. Most plans don't provide any coverage during what's referred to as the coverage gap. A few provide a little bit of extra coverage during the gap. Most premiums have gone up. The enrollment period, if you do this on your own, you have to get it done by December 7th. I think you may still have till the end of the year if you use Towers Watson. The formulary within a drug plan could make considerable, substantial difference in how much you're going to have to pay. And you should not select a drug plan unless you have carefully examined the formulary. And if one of your drugs has a footnote, if it says PA or ST, try to find another plan, because those are red flags and those will become problems to you later on in the year. I went through a horror story last year about my experience with United Healthcare. So avoid footnotes and make sure your drug is in the formulary. Hal mentioned that in some instances you can get generic drugs for nothing, and that's perfectly okay to do that. Publix, Walmart, they have those kind of programs. So they can help to lower your cost, and it doesn't contribute to your drug plan. Okay, next, please. Okay, all right, can you move it down just a little? As I said, there are handouts there, and it was with great trepidation that I gave you my contact information on that sheet. But if, look, we, IBM, we are a computer company. But the fact is that not everybody is really computer literate. You know, some of us just never caught on to PCs, never had one in the house. That's fine. I understand that. Don't want to embarrass anybody. If you have a problem, you need help, call me, send me an email. Now, I'm going to put you to work. I'm going to make you line up all of your prescription bottles and copy down the name of the drug and the dosage and how frequently you take it. And then I will go through and enter that stuff with you. If I'm lucky, maybe we get another volunteer or two from the association who'll help me share the wealth. But I'm willing to help you do that because it's difficult to find these plans on your own. Okay. Next one, please. All right. So how do we sum up? Yes.
On that point, if you line up the prescriptions and do all the work, the thing that you don't necessarily know is what is another drug or a generic that is the same as the one you have, because that may be on a different tier. So the only way you're going to get that is by talking to your druggist
Right.
or talking to your doctor.
Right.
And you can save a lot of money by talking to your doctor and having them suggest an alternative if you're on a higher tier.
All right. So, I mean, that's very valid advice that doctors often give you, they want to prescribe you the latest and greatest drugs. You've all, you know, if we've all sat in a waiting room and we've seen these very attractively dressed young women, sometimes young men, with these little rolling cases behind them, march into the office, and it's all drugs in there. And they hand them out to the doctors, and they provide lunch for the staff. And oh, this drug is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then the doctors prescribe these. And in many instances, they have no idea what they cost. I got sick late last year. I had a little issue with atrial fibrillation. So they prescribed 2 drugs for me. One of them cost a little over $1,000 for a 3-month supply, and the other about $800. So when I realized that after the first payment, I said, you know, do I really need to do this? I said, well, you could try this other one. So we tried this other drug. It worked fine for me. And instead of over $1,000, that was $28. So it's a big difference. And it's not because the doctors are trying to be mean and you know, put us into financial difficulty. It's because they don't know that these drugs are pushed on them by the pharmacy reps, and that's the last thing they heard that morning. So you get the drug if you've come in later that day. The other drug I couldn't get rid of. So. Okay. Yes. Oh, the generic is automatic on practically every plan that we have. If there is a generic, that's what you get. And it will say dispensed in lieu of Viagra. Right. Right. Yeah. Sure. Right. Right. I know they don't know that. They don't know that. Okay, because I know that all of our plans do that automatically. So it's good to hear that it's mandated by the state. Okay, look, health considerations. If you have minor health issues, you got a lot of choices. The lowest cost, but the least flexibility, that's going to be an HMO. If you go into an HMO, very often you're going to have zero premium. You're going to have at least some drug coverage, but you stay within the network. You don't deviate. So you use their doctors, their hospitals, their everything. You can use PPOs. Some of them have zero premiums. And some of them, I mentioned problems with United Healthcare before because they lost a lot of their providers at the end of 2013. I don't exactly know what the issue is, but it invariably involves payments or denials or this or that. So a lot of their providers left, and then a lot of doctors said, no more, we're not taking this plan anymore. But if you're in a Medigap plan, a Medicare supplement plan, it doesn't matter. Anybody works because your provider never has to deal with the insurer. Your provider sends bills to Medicare. Medicare determines what's allowable, what's not allowable, and how much reimbursement the provider should get. Medicare sends that package over to your secondary insurer, Florida Blue in my case. Florida Blue pays what Medicare didn't pay, and that's that. The doctors never have to talk to Florida Blue or United Healthcare. That's the Medigap plan. In Medicare Advantage, that's all they talk to is the insurer. So they're tend to be pickier about who they want to do business with. Okay, again, if you have minor health issues, but flexibility is a major consideration for you, you want to be able to go to the hospitals you want to go to, you want to be able to use the doctors that you're comfortable using, then you should think about a Medigap Plan F or a high deductible Plan F, because that will give you the greatest amount of flexibility. Next, please. If you have moderate health issues, moderate prescriptions, you probably shouldn't think about HMOs. You know, if cost is the most important thing in your life here, then think about an HMO. Otherwise, you should think about PPOs if you want Medicare Advantage. Or again, if flexibility is what you need, I would say Medigap Plan F. Now, just one brief word about flexibility. There may be people who have exotic conditions. You know, my wife was a sufferer of scleroderma. That's not a very popular disease. And the local talent, the local knowledge of that disease is very close to zero. They just don't know. The expertise, it turns out, was at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. A Medigap plan allowed me to take her there. You know, if I was in an HMO, you know, I'd have to take her where they told me. If I was in a PPO, I'd have to go within the bounds of their network. But the virtue of total flexibility that you get in a Medicare supplement plan, a Medigap plan, is that you can go anywhere to any doctor. And if you've got one of these oddball diseases, you need to go where the expertise is. You can't go where they send you. Okay, next, please. All right, if you are sick, if you have major issues, take a Plan F or a Plan C. I mean, that's going to be the lowest cost for you in the long run, that coupled with the least expensive drug plan you can get. And the rule of thumb that I give you is that if you think, you know, based on last year, how you're feeling, whatever, that your medical expenses are liable to run into the neighborhood of $4,000 or above, you shouldn't be in an Advantage plan. You should be in a Medigap plan. Plan F, Plan C, Plan N, but this is where you should be. Because your out-of-pocket expenses will be less. Next, please. Dental. All right. Last year, the dental options, well, for this year, for 2014, dental options, in a word, were abysmal, terrible. This year, they're a little bit better. It's a busy chart, but I'm trying to show you what the monthly cost is, what the annual cap is, and what the deductible is. If you, my children, fortunately, have never had a cavity in their lives. If you are amongst that group, if you have very healthy teeth and all you really need are twice a year cleanings and stuff like that, go for the cheapest plan you can. And that would be fine. If you have 7 implants, maybe 15 crowns, have had 4 or 5 root canals, then you need to go for a more exotic plan that would cover that. I'm going to enroll in the MetLife plan option 2. I'll just tell you why. I need it because I have dental issues, and even though it has a cap of $1,500, it will, they have negotiated fees with all of the providers. So once I exceed the $1,500, I still never have to pay more than the negotiated fee, which is usually 45% less than I would have to pay if I didn't have MetLife as my insurer. So that's, and they also cover things like transplants, which Delta Dental does not cover. I mean, implants. Okay, the other family of things you could do is there are dental discount plans, which I had tried for this year. These are affinity plans. The credit union sells one. These will give you discounts over normal dental charges, but it's not a heck of a lot. And they are from considerably higher charges than what MetLife negotiates with them. Yes? Yes, you have to pay their negotiated rate. So for example, if you are going, let's take a simple procedure like a cleaning. So I think the last price I had to pay for a cleaning was, okay. Yeah, all right. You can leave that. The last, I had to pay $103. When I was with MetLife 2 years ago, the negotiated fee was something like $76, and I had to pay half of that. So I paid $38. So I'm guessing it's going to be closer to $40, $50 than to $103. But you do have to pay your share of the negotiated rate. How? Right.
I believe that my expenses for myself and for my wife are considerably cheaper than that, and that the prices that were negotiated with the providers were also cheaper than that.
Okay, I tried that with my providers, and I did not find I got a good deal, right? But you know, if you can get a good deal from your provider, great. I mean, you know. Okay, the vision plan. This is going to be my third time in a row with the same message. The way it works is that if all you want are vanilla glasses, single vision, no lightweight, scratch resistant lens, any word, any set of adjectives like that, it results in a $30, $35 upcharge. So lenses that you think are free under this plan will wind up costing you $150 when you put all the things on it that Costco gives you automatically for free. So forget the $150. You'll be better. If you need glasses, you get them at Costco. Now, if you have eye problems, if you have problems with your eyes, that's covered under Medicare. If you're in a Medicare Plan F like I am, that's a no charge kind of deal. What's not covered by Medicare is your optometrist exam to determine what prescription you need. So that $35 is on you, but you'll still come out ahead. Just go to Costco and forget the vision plan. Next, please. Okay, we're on chart 36 out of 297, so we're doing good. All right, are any of you entering this One Exchange arena for the first time this year? Okay. So if you're new to it, the differences are that you and your spouse don't have to enroll in the same plan. You can enroll in different plans. Only one of you has to be enrolled in a medical and/or prescription drug plan in order to tap your HRA. When you make the call, do as much prep work as you can ahead of time. It's better if you steer them than allowing them to steer you. It'll be faster and it will get you more to where you want to go. If you have high health issues, you really should consider a Medigap plan. You shouldn't, it would be better for you, in my opinion, than a Medicare Advantage plan. If you opt to go with an HMO or a PPO, you have to contact your providers to make sure that they are in the network. Just because they appear in the database of the plan doesn't mean that they're still in the network. It's pretty dynamic. I said before, if you're in an HMO, having a good primary care physician is key to your satisfaction. That office that's going to govern your medical care for the year, you need to be happy with it. Okay, next, please. If you are already enrolled, if you are a returnee to One Exchange, you're happy with your current plans, you don't have to take any further action. There is one change to that. I mean, that information came from IBM, but somebody mentioned something to me earlier that makes me think you do have to take some action. If you are going from a plan, if you're in a Medicare Advantage plan that cost you $0 a month in 2014, and all of a sudden now costs you $15 a month, you have to do something. You have to contact One Exchange, and you got to make sure that the money gets to him somehow. So, because continuing what happened last year is not going to result in your premium being paid. So you have to make arrangements for that $15 a month or whatever it is to go to your medical plan provider. Yes. Humana one, is that's gonna change then what was up there, the fee is gonna go up, like double. 215 plan? Yes, but I think that some of the exclusions may have gone down. Let's see. Okay, Humana one, it's going to be $21.99, and it'll be a $50 deductible. Yes. I wasn't in it, so I don't know. Okay, I mentioned earlier, it came up a couple times that if you are in a Medigap plan and you are with United Healthcare or Florida Blue, you are free to change from one letter to another without undergoing underwriting requirements. Okay, next, please. All right, so now we're going to do some Q&A, and I'm going to start with a few that I put together, and then you guys can fire away. All right. If you're currently enrolled in the Aetna Medicare Plan A or the PPO plan, one of the legacy plans, do you have to respond back on the survivor election form? The answer is no. That doesn't become a problem to you until you exit that plan and join the Towers-Watson fraternity. If you're enrolled in a medical and prescription plan on your own, can you get access to the health reimbursement account if you enroll in a dental or a vision plan through One Exchange? No, you can't. In order to get access to that account, you have to be in either a prescription drug plan or a medical plan. If you and your spouse are both IBM retirees and you're Medicare eligible, and you each are eligible for your own health retirement account, can you use them interchangeably? And the answer is yes, if you keep it joint. You're always better off, unless you and your spouse just can't stand the sight of each other. You would always be better off keeping it in a joint account. That way, as in the past, if one of you overspends and the other underspends, it kind of cancels out. But if you have your own account and it's each $3,000 and you only spend $1,000 and your spouse spends $5,000, you're out $2,000. Okay, what happens if you elect not to sign up for a drug plan? If you don't have what Medicare refers to as creditable coverage, you're going to be assessed a penalty for each month that you don't sign up by the time you do sign up. So you're going to be paying an extra % a month. Okay, SHAP. If you retired prior to the end of 1996, you're entitled to an extra $900 independent of the HRA account from IBM. You claim that $900 by filling out a form and faxing it or mailing it to a company called Aclaris. I think that's in the handout. Can you have both a Medicare Advantage and Medigap plan? No, you can't. If you've got a Medicare Advantage plan, it's illegal for anybody to sell you a Medigap plan. Okay, now it's your turn. Yes.
I just want to get some information.
Yes.
All right, retired nurse, and the doctors get lots of samples. No, don't hesitate to ask for them because they get like boxes of things. And I just had a couple of
Thank you.
$20.
Thank you. I'm always happy to have supplemental help here. Yes, sir.
I have a Humana Choice regional PPO, and I think I got fired by my primary physician. I had to go in for colonoscopy, and when they attempted to call my primary, something happened. Anyway, they ended up calling a specialist, pulmonary specialist, and he okayed the exam. I mean, the procedure. However, my primary physician won't talk to me, and the word that I got back is that if I haven't seen him in 6 years, then why should he talk to me now? Well, as far as I'm concerned, he's created an atmosphere of polarization, and I'm not sure if I really want this guy working on me. What do you suggest?
Well, for one thing, the year is practically over. So I would suggest getting out of the plan or getting out of that. Humana is a big presence in South Florida. So there are more offices, there are more primaries that you could use if you want to stay within Humana. Otherwise, get out and find somebody that you think you'll be happy with. Well, sometimes specialists are affiliated with multiple plans. They're not restricted to a single network. You could check with your specialist and see if there are uh, any other medical plans that he's affiliated with. Yes. Yes. Okay, I need to make sure I understand the question.
Thank you. I don't quite understand the HRA automatic distribution. The premiums, which we have to check anyway. Thank you.
All right, so this is that qualify for automatic withdrawal are premium payments for medical plans or prescription drug plans or dental plans. And that's it. So there's no automatic withdrawal for the out-of-pocket expenses, the co-pays, and because those all vary. They can only do it for something that's fixed, a fixed expense. All right. Yes.
Comment that last year, for some reason, I didn't sign up for it.
Okay,
And my dentist, since IBM used to have me on midlife,
yes.
he said, hey, you come back, you're only gonna charge you what I would have charged you if I would have been in midlife.
I wish I had your dentist.
But I tell you, he told me that many dentists will use it. You just gotta ask.
Where is your dentist located? Don't let him leave. Yes, but by the way, I believe you're right. I believe that if you sit down with your dentist and you say, look, you used to get, $90 for this procedure before, I paid half, they pay, suppose I pay the whole thing. I think most of them will agree. Yes. Okay, good. So it's not insurance, it's an affiliate plan. Right. Right. Right.
Say you're financially embarrassed for a couple of months, how quickly do they kick you out of these plans?
Oh, I mean, if you don't, you don't, uh, I honestly don't know the answer, but if I was the insurer, I would send my collection agent. And I would imagine that insurers would not be too lenient with you. I think they don't want to assume a risk if they're not getting a premium. So I think they would be tough on you. It would be my guess. I mean, I think it would be different for a hospital or a provider, but an insurer, I think they mean business, right? Yes. Right. Right. Right.
Then they said, okay, you gotta call your doctor. The doctor said, oh yeah, Medicare already paid for other system. What do? You just roll over, right?
Well, you have to track it yourself, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's no different.
Right.
This is only how you back.
Right. That's why I'm in the high. I mean, I don't want to have to do what you did. I'd rather be on the golf course or, right? Right.
They don't wanna do it.
I don't want to do it. Right.
Okay, in that case, you go to the regular.
Right. Yes.
Some of these on the webpage, so
Yeah, I'll ask that they post it on the webpage. Oh, you're talking about the whole presentation? No, I won't do that, but I'll do those 2 pages. Yes.
Is the only downside to staying with the freebie next year, the Aetna Advantage, the fact that you're going to have to pay a higher premium when you switch over to the medics, something, whatever they are? Or
No, that's really the only downside, is you will still, if you're on that legacy plan, you'll still be guaranteed issue. So if you were to get really sick, it's not a problem. They still have to take you if you want to go into a Medigap plan.
I don't know if I'm understanding correctly, but it sounds like some people have chosen not to go to One Exchange or anything, and they're doing their medical on their own. Why is that? Because they lose some money. I think they're losing money.
I personally,
Si, excuse me a moment. Hey, there are people that are asking some questions here. Can we allow these? Some of these questions are pretty important. If you want to chat, we don't mind. Go outside, but let them have an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
thanks, Greg. It's not required that everybody go to One Exchange to be able to tap the HRA account. If you're married, one of you has to have at least a medical plan or a prescription drug plan with one exchange. Some people, I think in the case of medical plans, it's, unless you have something in the military or you can get something from the Army officers, if you can get one of those plans, you may be better off staying out of one exchange. Otherwise, stay in it. Right. Right. No, as long as one of them is in, as long as one is in, they can get the money.
In this HRA, if you have, I'm confused about prescriptions. What I have to pay out of pocket when I receive am I eligible to file for that cost?
Yes, you are.
Because when I talked to them once, they told me, no, I wasn't, and I wondered. If I had a drug plan, they said I wasn't eligible.
For your out-of-pocket cost?
Yeah.
No, if pocket expenses on a drug plan or on a medical plan, you can package those all up and send them off to one exchange for reimbursement against your, I don't know how much it is in your case, unless whatever amount. Right? I'm guessing that it's maybe like 1,500, but I don't know either. They never told us.
So I went to CVS and I got the printout of everything.
Right.
But then they said, well, I wasn't eligible.
They is Towers Watson, one exchange.
Right, but everything I've read.
Yeah, I believe that you are. It's an out-of-pocket expense. Yes.
Sorry, are you finished? There's one area that leaves me just a little confused, and it's a simple area. You did a good job explaining it, but I need you to refresh me. Where is it double dipping if you do a SHAP and you get the IBM 3000?
Oh, there's no double dipping on that. The double dipping is if you do a SHAP and then you try to tap the 3,000 for the same expense.
Same expense.
Right. So now there's one Humana Medicare Advantage plan that reimburses you that expense. So you don't want to use that plan because that'll cost you $900. But that's it. It's the one. It's for the same expense.
So I want to just make sure I understand correctly. I'm currently on the 1X plan, 1X, whatever they call it. One Explorer, one Exchange.
One Exchange,
1X,
okay.
Explorer, 1X.
I got it.
So I got medical for me and my wife and prescription for me and my wife.
Right.
I have a personal friend that is an agent. My prescription plan is only $12.60 a month. If I keep that with 1X, I can take the others through my friend and still get the reimbursement for the HRA from IBM.
Okay, the others meaning the medical
The
plans.
two medical plans and my wife's prescription plan.
I think you can, but maybe not beyond what that drug plan costs you. So if the drug plan only costs you, let's say, for example, $500 a year.
Yeah, $12.60 a month. It's
Okay,
cheap,
so, and you're eligible for 3,000, say you're in the $3,000
yeah.
cap.
Right.
I don't know, because I don't know how they would write, well, maybe you can. You'll just have to submit bills to them directly,
Yeah, it
rather
wouldn't
than
be
have them
automatic.
do it.
Today it's automatic. It just
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Right, but it wouldn't be automatic if you did it
Yeah,
your
for
way.
the- For the others.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So with one exchange, I'm really I'm submitting the bills to one exchange, whereas before my doctor submits bills directly to insurance. Is that, am I here?
Yes, right.
Okay. Does that go,
Doctor is billing you.
right. Does that also happen if you go to the Medigap thing, or does it go, or do you still have to, I mean,
No, if you go to the Medigap thing, you don't see this.
good.
You don't see it.
Thank you.
I just want to say thanks to Sally for all this hard work.
Si, you mentioned rates sort of increased. I find that I belong to the Cigna prescription plan, and the rates actually decreased for $20 a month. So check your plans for rates.
But check the formularies too.
Yeah. Si,
Yeah,
you say a type F Medigap covers everything.
yeah.
So if it costs $36.60 a year, and you've got 3,000, the total year out of pocket is 667 or whatever it is, right?
If the total out of pocket is your premium, there's nothing else. There's no co-pays, no deductibles, no nothing.
Yeah, but the health account is going to
Right.
pay for the first.
Oh,
3,000.
correct, right,
Okay, so your total out of pocket yourself is $600.
right, plus drugs.
Oh, doesn't that?
No, it does not include drugs.
Medigap doesn't cover.
No, it doesn't cover drugs.
Ah,
So drugs are in addition to that, yeah.
okay, that's the one.
The potential fly in the ointment,
Right.
right?
Okay, that's what I want.
Thank you, Si.
Hey, you're welcome. Always a pleasure.
So the out-of-pocket doesn't apply to out-of-pocket drugs.
Right. And right, even on a Medicare Advantage plan, when it says 7,000 maximum out of pocket, does not include drugs. Does not include drugs. Right. And that's because nobody really knows what your drug costs could be.
And you can't get it. I went to the drugstore to find out, just so I could decide whether I should go with the mail order option or the drugstore says they can't do it without, filling prescription. And I called Right X or whatever that was for the mail order, and they wouldn't tell me what the price was until I submitted
Right.
a prescription. So I had to go to the doctor and I got a prescription and I took it over to Publix.
You know, Costco would tell you. You just,
I don't go to Costco,
Oh.
it's, it's just too far away.
You can follow a lot of them, but if you go to Walmart, they'll give you prices.
I even,
Yeah.
my plan is
Yeah.
Walmart.
Sounds like a lot of people, there's money there and nobody's been going after it. Where do you start? Is there a form?
yeah.
IBM retiree. You have the IBM retiree phone number?
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who are left,
Retiree phone number?
for those of you who are left, if you have no more questions for Cy, I'd like to thank Cy on behalf of the Board of Directors for all of his effort. And thank you all for coming. Please take some goodies home with you if you'd like to, and a little napkin. And we enjoyed your company, and we'll try to do meaningful stuff like this for you again. You're welcome. Bye.
Didn't know anything about it. Is there, okay, I can call them.
Or you go online, you can call them and send you a form. You go online, you can download the form.
I just go online,
And once you fill one out, they'll send you back a form.
Yeah, when they send you the check, you get a
You
blank.
get another form. Yeah, sure.
Is it really easy?
Yeah.
And if I have a Medigap, I don't have any concern. There's no conflict.
I got that through 04. It seemed to me, I questioned it, and it seemed to me they said that they pay some of it back.
They only pay 80% each time.
Yeah, I know, but it's 80% of two people.